Hello everybody, welcome to the Budget Digi-Destined. On this channel we will be doing Digimon card games, Digimon lore, and really just all things Digimon. And so, this day that I'm posting this video, the new X record BT9 for the Digimon card game is coming out. And so I wanted to give a brief history of the X-Antibody and also give you some of my favorite and least favorite Digimon of the X-Antibody. And so, here we go to a little bit of history of the X-Antibody. So from the Digimon wiki, it says, it is a vaccine that makes Digimon immune to the X program, and most Digimon that are introduced to it also become more powerful than their normal counterparts. They are differentiated from their original forms by the suffix X or X-Antibody. There are also many species of Digimon who are natural carriers of the X-Antibody and do not have separate original forms. And this is, for example, like Doberman. So the X-Antibody isn't permanent, and a non-natural carrier must continuously apply it or it will revert to their traditional forms. So, an example that I like to give for where the X-Antibody came from is Digital Monster X Evolution, also from the Digimon wiki. So, the X program is a termination program initiated by King Drasil to eliminate 98% of Digimon due to the exponential growth of Digimon causing the digital world to reach the maximum capacity. When King Drasil executed the X program, 98% of the total Digimon population was eliminated. That's a lot of Digimon. The remaining 2% were transferred to the new digital world where the X program could not reach them. However, a majority number of Digimon strong enough to resist the effects of the X program were able to survive by changing their digicores. The Digimon were reborn in a form that could take in the X program, and eventually it came to a point where a program that opposed the X program was installed into the digicore, the X-Antibody. So I really think that the lore of the Digimon universe, world, whatever, is actually really rich and interesting. Like, King Drasil is a crazy concept, the Royal Knights, all this stuff is really cool. And I will eventually go over all of these things, but right now we're focused on the X-Antibody. And so I am going to tell you some of my top favorite X-Antibody Digimon. And this also includes natural carriers of the X-Antibody because I consider them in the same area. I know one is like they receive the X-Antibody into their digicore and the other is naturally made with it, but I will put them in the same category for this because I love them or I hate them. So there you go. So for me, the criteria of what makes a good X-Antibody Digimon is it adds just a bit more to the Digimon or changes them just enough so that they have more spice. They're cooler. They look more interesting. And I'll go over my criteria of what makes a bad X-Antibody Digimon very soon. So here we go. Some of my favorites. Leomon X. I think he has a cooler outfit, a cooler sword, and Leomon has always been such a cool Digimon for me. He is loyal, he's strong, and he just wants to help people. And you know what? I think if you give this guy a cooler sword and cooler outfit, well, there you go. He just becomes a better Digimon right there. Next is Gallant Mod X. And so I think for this, he adds just a bit more to Gallant Mod. It adds the right amount to where his shield looks cooler, his lance looks cooler, and his body just gets a bit more change to it. Plus, he's a Royal Knight, and all the Royal Knights got the X-Antibody so that they could fight evil. And so I think it's just super cool. Next is Medieval Gallant Mod. And this is a Digimon I had no idea about before I started researching for this. And so Medieval Gallant Mod is basically just Gallant Mod but cooler. And he's a natural carrier of the X-Antibody. And I just think that it's really cool. I don't know what to tell you. It's just really cool. It's a sweet Digimon. Next is Wargreymon X. I think that this adds just the right amount to Wargreymon. A lot of people will say, oh, it's too spiky, it adds too much edge to it, but I disagree. I love the look of the bracers. I love the look of this Digimon. Plus, I do have some nostalgia for Digimon World 4 or Digimon World X, because of this, and so that's why I love Wargreymon so much. Next, Alphamon. Come on, do I have to really say anything? Alphamon is just super cool. He is like the penultimate Knight Digimon with fantastic armor, cape, and he's also the Mega Evolution of Doberman, and that's pretty cool. I love Doberman. Next is Gessomon, or Simundramon, who is the X-Antibody version of Black Wargreymon. Yes, there is a Black Wargreymon X, but this is just another version of it. And so, I mean, Black Wargreymon's cool. One of my favorite Digimon from Adventure 02. And, you know, make it into a samurai and it's even better. Like I said, I don't have many reasons for all these things, except I just think they're really awesome. So next is Omnimon X. I love Omnimon X. I think it adds just the right amount to an already cool Digimon. Yes, Omnimon is overdone, but come on. Omnimon is so cool. There's a reason why he's one of the most popular Digimon. Like, just accept it. Next is Myotismon X. Take a sexy villain vampire and make it even sexier and cooler. I didn't know that was possible. I didn't know about this guy before I started making this video, but then I found him and I was like, yep, that's on my list. I couldn't do a top 10 or a top 5 or anything like that because there's a lot of cool Digimon. So anyway, next is Starmon X. Starmon is already a fabulous Digimon. So what happens when you add even more fabulousness to him? You get Starmon X apparently, and so he's awesome. I've always loved Starmon. He's kind of weird, but he's like, you know, he's fabulous. So let's do it. Next is what I see as the worst X-Antibody Digimon, and for me, to make a bad X-Antibody Digimon, you either add way too much or way too little. If it looks almost the exact same as the original one, but you change like some color or whatever, it's just, what's the point? You know, you had a chance to turn this Digimon into something even cooler and you just didn't do much with it. So anyway, that's my criteria. Again, this is all my personal opinion. I love Digimon and I think the X-Antibody is cool. And anyway, so some of the worst are Gessomon X. Cool name, bad execution. Cool idea, bad execution. Gessomon is already like a super cool giant dragon Digimon with a lance. They went and just added way too much crap to it. I don't like it. It's just, for me, the name is sweet, execution bad. Next, Doberman X. I love that Patamon has a dragon mega. I think it's so cool, especially in canon when these Digimon have multiple megas, because you know that's kind of how it works anyways. The Digivolution is free, but Doberman X is just a fatter version of Doberman, basically. Obviously, if you put them side by side, I'm sure they would look different and there'd be changes. I just don't see it as a good X-Antibody form because it just looks fat, and that's basically it. Next is All-Force Vidramon X. Don't get me wrong, All-Force Vidramon, fantastic Digimon. I love the Vmon line just like everybody else, but the All-Force Vidramon X is just way too much. It's basically like they took a Marvel superhero and then created the villain and just added a bit more to it. They didn't need to add this much to the All-Force Vidramon. He's already such a cool Digimon. Give him, like, instead of adding tons of spikes and gold armor and whatnot, give him like a giant axe or something. Like, he already has 2 wrist blades. Turn those into like a giant axe. Give him like a helmet. I don't know, but just not this much. Anyway, on to Rosemon X. Rosemon X, if you showed me Rosemon X before this video, I would have said, oh, that's just Rosemon. No, it's just, they barely add anything at all. Just like with Doberman, it just changes a few things, and I just think it's wasted potential. Rosemon is awesome. Give it some more than just a black cape. Anyway, Dynasty X. I love Dynasty. Royal Knight, Dragon Man, all these super cool things. Wyvern's Breath is one of a fantastic card in the Digimon card game, but Dynasty X doesn't even look like Dynasty anymore. Yeah, it has like dragon stuff and, you know, similar color theme, but there's just way too much going on, way too many spikes. It's the epitome of a bad X-Antibody for me, and that's probably why it's one of my least favorites. But it's just, for me, it's just disappointing because Dynasty is awesome. Next is Gessomon. Look at these teeth. Look at these teeth. We didn't need these teeth. I love ugly Digimon. Numemon has a special place in my heart. But let me tell you, Gessomon is hideous and I hate it. It is a bad design, in my opinion. And I think it is just, like, it's just gross, man. Just get those teeth away from me. Ugh. Okay, and last is Doberman X. They took a dog and taped some swords onto him. This is just like what most people think Digimon is that aren't in the Digimon community, is take an animal and put a weapon on it. And for the most part, yes, that's true. This guy is even worse because basically it's like take a Digimon, take an animal, a dog, and add some curved blades to it. And it's just, the blades are way too much. Anyway, this has been my list. I love X-Antibody, and that's why I'm so passionate about the bad ones, because like I think it's such a cool concept. I love the idea of these Digimon having multiple forms and having a way to fight this virus. I think it's fantastic, but some of the execution is not the best. But thank you so much, DigiDestined, for tuning in. I will definitely be getting a lot more content out. I will be getting some card game stuff out. I will be getting some lore out. I'll be getting a lot of stuff out, so stay tuned for that. And hey, I hope you're able to take this new set of Digimon and just make it one of the coolest sets ever. So, thank you, DigiDestined. We'll see you next time.